A bit worried about whether the camera will survive.
Did it take me to Scott Allen? Yeah, that was really good spots.
Well, we're having lunch there.
No, things most
Sean, put the bottle there, mate. Come on, girls, over here.
Good, thanks. How are you?
Good animals.
Oh, you get in there. Where are you going?
Father said not to be too intrusive. Patrick.
Thanks, John. Good to see you, mate.
Did you get him, Bill?
No, once more on this.
Anne hasn't got in. Happy Where's
Thanks very much.
He's dying to be rich.
Oh, yeah, I've come up with it.
He's getting here.
There we go.
Come on, you two come with me. James.
Where's Rose and Betty?
It's getting a bit.
Just jump
Hey, do you want all the congregation up there?
Hold on.
I mean, everyone?
Good man, you sit down for a minute.
Take everyone. Dive in and we'll take one of everyone.
He wants you to all come up.
Get up there.
How are you going there? Hardly see any people.
Ah! Did I have that taken?
Neville, will you take Uncle Bob's camera? We want to cross face. Once you're up here, hurry, Uncle. Well,
Stand on one leg. Hey, look. Right?
You can, obviously. We have actually run a practice eye over these telegrams, and the only ones that had to be removed, back a bit, yes, were from Stephen Norton and Marty Nance. We thought they were a bit unsatisfactory. The first telegram I've got to read here is to Mr. and Mrs. Patrick Norton. From the originals to the great pretenders. Hope your association is as happy as ours. Fond regards, Bernadette and Patrick Norton.
You lost it.
Whoops.
We're back on the...
Sort of.
No, we're not, yes. Okay, the spelling of that Norton was N-O-R-T-O-N. No for Bolton, Sydney.
I have a telegram here which says, to dear Anne and Pat, congratulations to you both. Hope you enjoy a wonderful future together, little Bob, Bardia and family. That one's from Melbourne.
This is from Helen Michael. The lounge room wall will never be the same, Patrick. A hidden meaning, obviously.
I think most people who've been into Mum's Place in Corridor, they'll notice that there's been a spot saved and it's been blank for many, many a year. So we now have a lovely photo, I'm sure, from all those ones that were taken in the garden. There'll be a lovely photo put up there shortly. Best wishes and a very happy life together. Sorry we can't be with you today. Des and Betty Healy from Albury.
Congratulations to you both. Best wishes, your Armidale travelling mate, Alan Reynoldston, Lee O'Donnell.
For those who don't know, Gary Barrick's from Essendon, and most of the Norton family of my generation married from North Melbourne, and they played each other today. So I don't know who won. Maybe we'll leave it at that and be friends with everybody. Speaking of football, here's another one. Dear Anne, congratulations. We've tried Patrick in many positions. I hope you find one that he likes. And that's from the Donnybrook Football Club, where Patrick played a couple of decades ago.
The last card I have is to Anne and Pat. Love and best wishes for your future happiness from Auntie Betty, Terrigal, New South Wales.
And this one's a Richie Ditch. It's even a fax post, this one. Telegram. It says to Mr. and Mrs. P. Norton. Dear Anne and Pat, hope you are in... Sorry, start again. Dear Anne and Pat, you are in our thoughts on this, your wedding day. We wish you both all the peace and fulfilment married life can bring. Love, Marg and Ted McNamara and family. That's the last telegram I have to read. I'd just like to say something very briefly, and that is that, to me, Pat and Anne did a marvellous thing today. They created something for a dozen or so little nephews and nieces today that created so much excitement in their lives. Looking forward to it, and I'm sure the photographs and the memories looking behind Pat and Anne, it was a wonderful thing. Also, Anne, in marrying Pat, there's many duties that you have to take on, and you know how beloved Pat is of all the nieces and nephews around the place. Well, we're just telling them now it's going to be so much more fun. There's Uncle Pat and Aunt here.
I've known the Coy family as long as any members of our family. I think my first recollection of the Coys is the Bulldale Church in about 1964 or 65, and I remember the three Coy girls in their white veils and red capes from St Mary's. I thought they looked like angels. And actually, the older boys were dressed the same. Of course, they were older boys. I guess they had the same. Well, they didn't have veils. And I still remember as the Coy girls walk up the aisle, and this rather attractive 10-year-old. I know Barbara denied this, but she did flash me a smile, and I sort of smiled back. But well, you know, my smile had about 3 teeth missing, so I didn't really do much for it. But if you told me that day, I guess that the Coy and Norton families had been joined, I'd think, well, I've done fairly well. But anyway, I have known, I guess I've probably known Anne longer than Patrick has, and I can remember in high school, I think I was in HSC, and Anne was in one of those little blue striped uniforms. We look good today, Anne, actually. I thought she was going to grow up to be a beautiful woman, and she certainly has. And I guess if we could look for the right sort of woman for Patrick, I think that Anne might be it. There's a lot of opposites in the two of them. They say opposites attract, and Patrick, and I'm sure he wouldn't deny this, is known to be frugal, not tight in any way, but frugal, whereas, and he's admitted to me he doesn't particularly like talking on the telephone. Anne actually keeps 3 people at telecom working. So, I won't continue with any more. Look, I just want to wish you both well from me, and as I'm sure everyone else does here. What I want to do now is call on Uncle Bob, my mum's brother, Uncle Bob, who's probably known Patrick for most of his life, actually. And Uncle Bob wants to say a few words, I guess, about the Nortons. We had to find somebody here to say a few good words about us, and Pat in particular. So if Uncle Bob would like to come up to the mic, thank you.
Righto, well, thanks, Stephen. I suppose I can certainly lost it as long an acquaintanceship with the God again. Oh, well, I dare say I can claim a great long acquaintanceship with both the Brown family and the Norton family. There were only 2 persons in the Brown family older than me tonight, and I've been around here just for 6 years. So, during that time, well, with respect to the mother of the bridegroom, my sister Helen, well, she has done a great job over the years. She's reared 2 families, which is probably not well known. On the death of my mother when I was 13 years of age, Helen reared our family as well. She held our family together, and she did a great job of it, and she has done an equally great job in bringing up her family with Frank. It's regrettable that Frank is not here tonight. Frank will be absolutely delighted, I'm sure, to be able to see the match that Patrick has made, a wonderful match and a beautiful bride. On the subject of the Norton family and Pat, well, our families have grown up together, and from the time I can recall coming up here to Brocklesby many years ago, so we started with Corowa actually, and I think the Norton family moved from Corowa to Urangui, then to Henty, and back to Brocklesby, and eventually back to Corowa. Got it, John? Yeah. Well, those are the days that our family remember only too well, of course, were, what must be down here. I'll keep clear of that this time. The days at the Henty farm. Now, our families grew up together, and all of the families are represented here tonight, of course. My greatest recollection is the cricket matches. It seemed there were that many children playing cricket at the farm at Henty. I think they could have mustered 2 full teams. This in fact did continue on, and talking of Donnybrook, which was mentioned earlier in that telegram, no less than 5 of the family played football for Donnybrook, including Patrick, Johnny, if I'm right, my 2 sons, Bob and Jeff, and Neville, who should be sitting over there somewhere. They told me, however, the only bloke to make the first was Patrick. And they said this was because he was fleet of foot. He could run much faster, sprint much faster. Now, before I came up, my oldest born said to me, "Will you tell him when you get there, Dad, that he couldn't sprint too fast this time?" He said, because he didn't win the marriage stakes and caught up with him, and that's it, the best thing that ever happened. But overall, you know, I would say that A lot of credit must go to my sister for the love and understanding and patience she's shown in rearing families, and the boy, this is indeed reflected in the boys, and happy will carry this into his own marriage, and I'm sure it will make a much better marriage for Patrick and Anne, and all the best for now on. I think I've said enough.
Well, thanks, Uncle Bob. I'm on this as well, am I? Yeah. Thanks, Uncle Bob. I think you did a really great job there. I think Helen's probably put you off the Christmas card list for a little while, but anyway. Perhaps, Helen, would you like to come up and tell us how good you are? Well, anyway, you're the best sister I've got. Look, now from, and I've forgotten their names, so I'll have to get out, no, that's my suit hire ticket. I'll have to get out Anne's little instructions here, but they had some problems finding somebody actually to talk about Anne, and finally we've come up with a couple of friends, I think. Are they paid or just... the first, I think, is Jenny Binks, and after Jenny is finished, Lally Biggery. So if you'd like to come up to the microphone now.
Sorry, Jeffrey. Walking straight through.
Is that right? Actually, it's the other way around. I'm going first. I couldn't let this opportunity go by, actually, without saying a few words about Anne, because the three of us have been very close friends since we were at college. And actually, I was thinking back the other day to our first year at college, and I thought it's really quite remarkable that Anne and I became good friends, because basically Anne was never there. She was always off at her sister Barbara's or home in Corowa, and it's really quite amazing. But my first memory, actually, of Anne was this girl always carrying a brown paper bag. And I thought, oh, what's this? And I later discovered that it always contained her fruit lunches. And here was this girl from the country, a vegetarian, which I'm a country girl, good farm girl myself. This was quite unheard of for me. And I thought, oh, this sounds very healthy. Fruit lunches, and she always ordered salads and things. But then, once I got to know Anne a little better, I realised that she supplemented this diet with chocolate, ice cream, hot chips, mixed lollies, and then I thought, oh, this girl's normal after all, she must be all right. From then on, we became quite good friends. And a year or so later, Anne had the privilege of sharing a house with Jenny and myself. We needed someone else to move, and we thought, oh, Anne will be good value. She's a lot of fun. I think we can tolerate her artistic temperament. Soothe it with food, that'll be right. And we only had a room that was actually very small, about the size of a shoebox, but we thought, oh well, Anne will like that. She'll feel very safe and secure in that room. Because Anne sort of tended to worry a little bit about intruders, people that might burgle the place or attack her or something. And we thought, in a room that size, with the hockey stick or the tennis racket beside the bed, she'll feel quite safe and secure. So she was always very security conscious, always locking up, and always a little bit worried that that noise in the kitchen just might be a burglar. And actually it extended outside the house. Anne used to hop off the bus about a block away and just run for her life up to the house before someone had a chance to attack her. And always insisted on driving with all the car doors locked. Because when you stop at the red light, you just never know somebody might try and hop in that car and attack you. And actually something that I just heard the other day is still going on, I believe Pat's still coming to terms with, is that Anne insists on locking the doors at the service station. Pat hops out and gets some petrol and sits there with the doors locked. And it's probably worthwhile noting just at this time, and Jenny will tell you about this later, that this is the same girl that travelled around the world, hitchhiked up around the world on her own. It's with Jenny part of the time and then on her own. And I think that we can all learn a valuable lesson from this, that really it is quite safe for a girl to hitchhike around South America on her own, but it's the service stations you really have to watch. They are places of danger. But anyway, getting back to this household, Anne was the most worried about burglars and intruders. And of course, what should happen one day, but Anne's gone off down to the laundromat and done a washing, and back she comes. Hears a noise in the bedroom, thinks it's Jenny, and starts to walk across the lounge room. And who should she meet? Who should she confront in the lounge room but an intruder? And her brother was asleep in the room next door. But did Anne call on him? No. Did Anne go for the hockey stick or the tennis racket? No. She just got stuck into him straight away. In true teacher fashion, immediately started chest up. What are you doing? How did you get in here? Don't give me any of that rubbish about coming through the front door. I locked it myself. And she had the guy reduced to tears. He was a blubbering mess by this stage. And she sent him off down the street with a stern warning that if I ever see you around here again, I'm going to call the police. So don't be fooled, Pat. I mean, if you have an intruder, just leave her to it. She'll be right. But anyway, it is really nice to be here, finally, and we do wish you all the best. And you're a very, very lucky man, Pat, to have such a beautiful, intelligent, talented, sensitive, witty, and I'm sorry, Annie, I just can't make out this last word, but I'm sure she'll fill in later, Pat. So we do wish you every happiness together. Thank you. And I'm going to hand over to Jenny now, who's sort of going to do part two.
Alright, basically Coitsy and I spent a fair amount of time travelling together, and I've got a few snippets from those travels that might interest you, might bore you to death, but anyway, okay, that's what it's all about. I guess Coitsy and I, 10 years ago I suppose, decided yes, we were going to do some travel. Ellie wasn't ready at that stage. So we all prepared, got everything together, but there was one incident just before we left that made me really wonder whether it was really the right thing to do at that stage in our lives. And it was actually the Coogee. I don't know if any of you know what the Coogee Esplanade is like on a Sunday, but it is packed with people, usually fairly happy people, fairly easygoing people, quite calm. And we in fact were one of those this particular Sunday. We were walking down the Esplanade, and I know you'll find this hard to believe, yes, we were eating an ice cream at the time, just taking in the world, contemplating life, neighbours, anything else we could think about. And suddenly, it was all really quite calm, just looking at the smiling faces, looking at the sun, it's a great day. Suddenly I felt this hand clench mine. Quick, run! So we took off, ice creams went flying, and we burst down them, and we were avoiding people here, there and everywhere. We got about 300 yards, it's about as far as we could run in those days without tuckering. We stopped. I looked around furtively to see this intruder who was going to be coming behind us. Couldn't see anyone but the crowds we had once been a part of. And if it turned to Coitsy, then hang on, you said we were meant to rush. What exactly are we doing this for? She said, well, didn't you see what happened back there? And of course, I was quite no, I didn't. Tell me. So Coitsy then proceeded to tell me why we run. She said, well, first of all, did you see that blue Holden? But no, I don't believe I did. I must have looked a bit bewildered, but she was getting near, and I was excited, I wanted to know more. She said, well, it pulled up to the curb, right near where we were walking. I still looked bewildered. Right, then what? And she said, well, there were two men. I said, and we ran? No. Okay, there were two men, and then what happened? She said, well, they dived out of the car really quickly, didn't you see that? I still looked a bit bewildered. She said, and they had hats on. And that was the end. Like, I stood there like, Okay, so yes, I was waiting for the climax, and Coitsy went, well, don't you get it? Like, they were after us. They were after us? Like, how did you work that out? Obviously, I realised then that Quincy had some connection with the underworld that I was not aware of. And that obviously maybe it was a real problem that we were going to be travelling together because I was going to be connected with this lady. And I guess I also thought, oh, hang on, we're travelling together, like this is going to happen a lot. We're probably going to see a lot of cars pulling up to the curb very quickly with people walking out. I'm really not wishing us any ill intent, but no, and the third area I suppose that really made me wonder, I said, Quincy, I think, you know, you've done your teacher training, but I think ASIO missed out. They should have had you. They might have had a few false alarms, but she would have been down here. But anyway, we went ahead. We said, well, I think we ought to go anyway. The bags are packed. I think we'll just hit the road. And it was soon after this, actually, that I realised, well, that was one part of Quincy, that she had a very calm side to her. And that sometimes Quincy was so calm in the face of, well, what others might have seen as a fairly traumatic event. And that was one time we were actually peddling. It was after going to the Valley of the Kings in Egypt, and it was very heady stuff. You know, down underground most of the day, looking at these fantastic old bodies that are thousands of years old. You felt quite philosophical about life, the world, and everything else. We were riding it very peacefully, and Quincy was about 100 yards ahead of me, riding quite carefully at the time. She just rounded the bend, and suddenly I was jolted from this sort of quite heady experience by peals of laughter from Quincy around the corner as well. And then a yell saying, Pixie, hurry up down here, there's one guy here who thinks he's got the greatest treasure to show us. We haven't seen it. So I pedalled on down, got around the corner really quickly, and here's this fellow obviously thought that he was sort of going to show us his appendage. And Quincy had just burst out laughing, which I guess to many would have been quite a traumatic event, but Annie could see the humour of it, and I said, oh, we'll be right, we'll be able to handle anything for him, part of the pun. Yes, okay, so we'll go on. And so anyway, it was terrific, and Quincy was able to see the fun in a lot of incidents that perhaps might have freaked out a lot of people. And I suppose this brings us to the point where, at that stage, I think we sat down one night, we thought a lot about why we were travelling, what we were trying to achieve from it, what our motivations were. And we just said, well, Quincy had said, and it was very wise actually, Quincy was saying how she really wanted to get into the local culture. She wanted to find out how they thought, what their ideas were, what they did in their days, and really wanted to become a part of it. And she felt the best way to do that was by starting, well, with the ice creams, with the chocolates, and really getting to know how they tasted things and what sort of foods they enjoyed. We thought that was, I actually agreed with that, I went along with that, we agreed that was a good place to start. And so when Quincy and I remember places and we try to remind each other and we say, now, do you remember that magnificent little town just near, and we look a bit bewildered, the other looks a bit bewildered, you go, uh-huh. Do you remember that big chocolate mousse that had the big marshmallow stuff all over the top, had 3 helpings, couldn't walk for a day? You know, oh, I remember the place, yeah, great place. So all our places, I mean, normally people remember places by the people they meet, things they see, but we remember it by food, as Mel mentioned before. So it's been a pretty good bonding thing between us all. I suppose the last thing, Pat, is of course that I'd like to mention, of course, that I'm sure you've been told many times, Quincy's told us too, that you are a very, very, very lucky man. And I'm sure you'll be reminded in years to come. But I'd just like you to picture this for a moment, because the reason that we know you're lucky is because Quincy actually resisted thousands before you came along. And there was this one particular incident, this man in India, and it was Quincy actually came home, we'd parted for the day and we came together, and she said, hey, we've been asked out to dinner. Brilliant. Haven't had a good feed in a while. Where are we going? She said, well, actually, all I know is that there's this fellow picking us up at the place we're staying at so-and-so time. Great, Sam. Didn't ask any more questions. And we headed off with this car ride, which you've never had before. We headed off to this place. Now, just like you for a moment to shut your eyes and try and imagine this, because I think you need to shut your eyes to think about it. If you feel you can. Anyway, it was sort of in Rajasthan. It was totally flat desert-like country. And out of the middle of it was this sort of mesa that came up, and on top of it, I guess you can only describe it as a canvas resort. There wasn't a tent, everything was totally dark all around, just these couple of lights outside this amazing canvas erection in the middle of the desert. And outside, this fellow had put his 2 speakers, these music speakers that blared. He put on Tchaikovsky, he put on Vivaldi, you name it, it was just the scene. He got into a lot of trouble. I mean, I hadn't seen this guy at this stage. And not only that, he put this on as soon as we arrived, and he actually had 2 servants. Oh, and they had a toilet, which was amazing, you know, sit on one, I mean, in the middle of the desert. It was just the most incredible thing. I mean, you sort of have to be there to realise. But we sat outside on these little seats that he put up, looked at the stars, again, contemplated the world. We did that a lot when we were travelling. Looked at the stars, tried to see some of the constellations, and it was really quite a magical thing. These 2 servants then started cooking out entrees. Now, as I say again, I hadn't met this guy. Quincy was the one who knew him. So I soon realised that I don't think he really intended for me to be there. And I was like, oh, this is this extra person. Okay, but they started us off, well, they started us in a good way because they started bringing out the food first. So they needed a way to get us in. Okay, have a bit of food, try and entree. Well, soon after this, I was still looking at the stars. This man started getting very close to Quincy, as in trying to woo her. He got on his knee, in fact, and started saying the sweet nothings in her ear. And I tried to look at the stars and pretend I didn't know what was going on. But every now and then, Quincy go, Betsy, have you tried that entree? Top entree, get into it. Anyway, this went on. Obviously, he wasn't getting a lot of response, and I think he was a bit put off. But the evening went on, and he decided in the end that it wasn't working. He'd try something more than just the chat. So he hopped up and he decided to sing. Turned off the music. He sang in the middle of the desert to Quincy. I don't know exactly what he sang, but well, it sounded all right. But again, Quincy was still more interested in the Betsy. Have you seen this main course coming out here? Oh, it's just fantastic. So it was by the end of the evening, I guess I realised that Quincy doesn't really seem terribly interested in this man. I wonder what exactly drew her out here. Well, as we were heading off that evening, at the end of it all, when he realised that there was no hope, he wasn't going to catch Quincy, well, we got home. I said, what was it exactly that drew us there? She said, well, Betsy, haven't you realised? No, I missed it again. I was a bit slow. She said, when he told me about the meal, he said there were going to be 12 to 15 courses. Say no more. I don't need to explain it any further. So, poor guy. But it was a fantastic experience. And Pat, you've obviously come up with something amazing if you can rival 12 to 15 courses, I can tell you that. But in all sincerity, I mean, we had a brilliant time. We've had a great friendship, and I hope it continues. And Pat, welcome to our eating conclave. We're glad to have you part of it. And we believe too that Quincy's pretty lucky. She's got someone pretty special. So, love each other, enjoy your life.
After that, I'm really not sure what to say. I think I'd just like to sit down and hear it all again. Actually, it's interesting to hear that you both talk about your own eating and Anne's, especially Anne's eating. None of you sort of look in the Maggie Tabaret Club, but anyway, I know Anne does have a liking for chocolate, which makes it really easy come Christmas time and birthdays and so forth. I think it's only fair, I guess, that both Pat and Anne have a right of reply, and perhaps, Patrick, you might like to say a few words for a start. Is that right?
I think I've got some hard acts to follow here. Oh, sorry. Right, I think I should have spoken after Laurel and Jenny. It's not working. Oh, you can hear me up the back, right? Yeah, that's fine. Okay. Just got to be careful where you turn. Do with especially the people who travel a very long way. Jenny came at fairly short notice from Brisbane. We also had Shane, Anne's brother, coming from Brisbane. Several people from northern New South Wales. We had William and Uncle Bob and Aunt Dol from Western Victoria, Portland. So we really do appreciate these people who've come a very long way. And, we didn't really give them very much notice at all. I'd also like to particularly thank older people tonight, the elders of both tribes, so to speak. I have to be a little bit careful just who I include in those groups. So, Anne and I both the older generation, the people who've been to many such occasions, and I've seen it all before, but recognise the importance of such occasions for getting families together. It's a particularly special occasion tonight. Always these occasions are special because when you have your closest friends and family together, or most of them together under one roof at one time, then it's really got to be just about the most important occasion in our lives, and I'm sure that Anne and I will remember it that way. I guess it's a particularly special occasion because our two families, as you've already gathered, have known each other now for a very long time. I guess it's not quite like the Martins and the Coys, but I am very honoured tonight to become officially part of the Coy family. I guess I know that Joan and Harry and the rest of their family welcomed me as part of the family a very long time ago, and Anne certainly was accepted as one of our family years ago. I know that we should have done something about this a long time before today, but well, I guess good things come to those that are prepared to wait. I'd like to particularly thank Joan and Harry for being immediately welcoming to me and very supportive. We sprang this occasion on them fairly hurriedly a month ago, and yet everyone's really have shown their absolute delight with it all and got right behind us, and it's all come together today much better than we could have ever hoped for. I'd also like to particularly thank my mother. Mum, as we knew she would, has been ever helpful and supportive, so I'd just like to thank Mum for being the mother and grandmother that she is. If my father were alive, he would be tickled pink by this match tonight. And Anne was always one of his favourites, but I sometimes wonder how well he really knew her. Because apparently he told her that she would be the nun of the family. Those of us who know her reasonably well know that he was fairly wide of the mark there. But I, for one, am quite glad about that. Actually, on a similar line of thought, my auntie Nancy, just on the next table, used to say, she hasn't said it for many years now, but years ago she used to say, when I became the priest in our family, that she'd be my housekeeper. Well, the job's still open under Nance. I'm not really sure that Anne has inherited all of her mother's housekeeping ability, housekeeping talents there. So. Right, I guess I'd better move on to And she finally convinced me of that. I do get a bit confused at times though when her friends, especially her colleagues from Murray High School on the tables over here, come up to me and offer me their commiserations. I think perhaps there's a side of Anne, a school side to Anne that I'm not fully aware of. And I know for a fact there are a few people on these tables who would love to get up here and relate a few stories, but it's probably just as well that they can't. Seriously though, those of us who know Anne well, and it's just about all of us here, know that her beauty, which we see in full bloom tonight, is not just skin deep. She has a warmth and a feeling for others, a heart of gold, which to all of us, to me, I think is a really special quality. She has a sense of humour that takes a bit of getting used to at times. I was going to drop science. But anyhow, we know each other pretty well now. We know that we're going to have we've had our ups and downs over the years, like everyone. We know that it's not all going to be plain sailing ahead. There'll be battles ahead. Probably, as someone as Steve pointed out, most probably over telephone bills. But we've been together about 5 years now, and we're looking at about another 50. We might call it quits then. But to conclude, Anne would like to say a few words, and she'd like to name some people and thank some people individually who need to be thanked tonight. I'm not sure whether it's because she felt that I wouldn't remember all the names. And I must say, by the way, that Anne has been more in touch with the arrangements. In other words, she's done the hard work over the last few weeks. But I'm not sure whether that she thought I'd forget their names or whether she just wanted a last say. But I think it's a bit of both, I think, so I'll hand over to Anne.
Did someone get that on video, what Pat just said about me? Well done. I might use that later. I've always thought it was a really good idea whenever I go to speak on her behalf. But now that it's my turn, I'm not so sure that it's a really good idea anymore. But it is nice to be able to thank people, because there are a lot of people who have really put into the show here tonight. As Pat said, a lot of people have travelled a long way and gone to a lot of expense to be here, and for that we thank you greatly. The people who helped out in Mass, the readers, my great uncle Rob, who sang so beautifully, the nieces and nephews who did a marvellous job, and of course here we've got Max and Margaret doing the music for us, Shirley and the other members of staff here at the club have made it so easy for us. Stephen, of course, doing a great job as MC, and various others. It's really made it easy for us, and I'd like to thank you for that. Jenny and Narelle, I'd also like to thank for their sort of kind words. Sort of kind, but certainly entertaining, so thanks for that. And it's really interesting because I think just about every story that they told needs a lot of clarification. I haven't got time to do that tonight, of course. But I would like to point out that, okay, yes, I was one who perhaps was the unkept area and swing violently into empty spaces behind doors, under beds, in cupboards, you name it. I mean, if there was someone there, they weren't going to get away, that's for sure. But if they could have seen themselves at 3 o'clock in the morning, really ugly boots, bed socks, thick woolly nighties, and at least half a dozen jumpers of various colours and boots. Honestly, their weapons were superfluous. If they had been someone more, they would have knocked them dead for sure, just the sight of them, very, very ugly, I can tell you. Very ugly. But anyway, thanks anyway, girls. Also, I'd like to thank my sister Barbara for her part today, and I'd particularly like to thank her for not weeping profusely into her frock down the back of the church, which is what she agreed to do when I initially asked her to be my witness instead of a bridesmaid. So thanks, Barbara. You did a great job as a witness. I'd also like to thank my sister Helen, who I discovered this week was also very disappointed that she wasn't a bridesmaid and only a witness. But Helen was silly enough to arrive here in Colorado over a week ago, and she hasn't stopped working since. So thanks, Helen, for all your wonderful effort to reveal. Even if you were a witness, and she pointed out every day, just a million times, that really all the jobs she was doing were really the jobs of a bridesmaid. And in fact, as a witness, she didn't have to do that. So thanks for doing that, Helen. Great. As Pat said, since we announced that we were getting married, the families have been very supportive. And as anyone knows, when who's put on a wedding, there are 1,000,001 jobs that need to be done, and our families have jumped in and done really well and efficiently for us, and I'd like to thank them, and particularly the parents. But I think apart from just the physical tasks that the parents and family have done, there's also the emotional support that they've given us. And as Pat said, the almost unabashed excitement and enthusiasm that they've shown us, it's just been such a positive thing for Pat and myself. So thanks for that. And actually, it was at least 2 years before I ever met Pat, and my father made a very bold statement. He said, "Anne, I have found the perfect man for you. His name's Patrick Norton." And I say it was a very bold statement because for anyone who knows Pat and myself, we are very different. One of us is perhaps not the vocal enough, the other one is too vocal. One of us likes spending money, the other one doesn't. One of us always looks through rose-coloured glasses, the other one's very realistic. And one of us always tunes into the extreme left on radio frequency, the other one's always the extreme right. So there are many differences between us, but I'd like to congratulate Dad on his foresight, because over 5 years into the relationship, I think I agree with him. I think Pat is the perfect person for me. So thank you all for being here to make this as good a day for us.
Tear in my eye. I think Kerry has a right to reply to it, right, Kerry? Where is Kerry? I think you want to come up and say a few words, is that true, or I need to talk to you about this at all? Okay, cool.
Well, friends, the main thing I would say is thank you very much for coming and making such a wonderful day. I can never talk much because I break him after all, so I get him done so much. But as far as Pat's concerned, and you know, she got the criteria a long time ago about the man that she wanted to marry. And I said, Anne, you're about 20 odd years too late to be doing this, and you've only got the last one. Here's what I can get to with Pat. But I've got a bit of a word of warning. Probably for a lot of other young married people around who are contemplating. Is the quickest but couldn't think how true it was to day night. He said, we've really got 40 years, so you've got a chance. Thank you very much, people, for coming. I've really enjoyed it today. Up until now, I thought I didn't have to make a speech. Actually, we were going to no speeches. But anyway, I just want to thank you all once again. And Pat and Emma, just be happy, be yourselves. And just one last word, right? There's no way that things are going to be rosy and you'll have a blue and all sorts of things. But never take your half of the bed. Hang on, because if you get out, there'll be somebody who want to give you something.
Thanks, Harry. Someone who doesn't say words. Actually, Harry, I heard Harry once, quite a few years ago, saying quite a few words when he was coaching Burridge. And Harry used to say work for Lindeman's. He had a reputation of about 3/4 time on a cold day of passing a brown bottle around Lindeman's in a brown paper bag. And, I didn't know about this, and when I was doing HSC about
Sorry.
Pat and Ann are now going to cut the cake. Perhaps really to get a decent view, you mightn't like to take a seat, you might like to stand up and have a look. Go for it.
Anyone's got any film?
The creek and creaking old mill make as we used to long, long ago. The green grove is gone from the hills, maybe where first the daisies from the creek.
Okay, how about some of you people now help the bride and groom out? Come on, Gary, get Mary up. She's all right. Give her a couple of spins around, she might come in early. Come on, you people now, help the bride and groom out and don't be shy.
Oh, they say that I'm feeble, they make my steps are much slower than them. My face is a well.
missed the first course. Hey Samuel, show me what you got. What is it? Oh, what about Auntie Anne? Is it for her too? Right.
Get away, Billy. Go away, Billy.
Get Harry on.
Would you like a drink?
Does that make you happy? He's got you on video now.
She looks better than mine anyhow. He's trouble there. Look at that. I thought you were going to sneak up there, Bill, through the camera down to timber. Sorry? You got.
Hayley, come over here and I'll have...
Hello. It's a video. Billy, it's a video camera, isn't it?
Billy? No, my word, yeah.
And you can hear what people say. Is that
Must be a bit of weight in it too. That's why I
talk too much. Know what you're saying?
Hey, put your glass on, mate. No?
Level mags seems to come out. Mine must have a penetrating voice. And in Terry's video, they're showing the video, and Terry said, "That's Auntie Anne." She said, "Oh, and I said to Kat," she said, "Yes." She said, "Oh, the bloke reckon Terry's small," and I turned around and said, "He didn't." I said, "Oh, Terry said, "Oh, that's Auntie Anne." And then when I went over to Tassie that week, and I said, "Oh, that's your voice."
So your voice must carry.
It's a penetrating voice.
Right.
It must be, yeah.
Daddy, can I please?
Yeah. The ones out close to the road. You want to keep fathers to always be in the right.
Yeah, we don't know it's there because it's behind the tree and it's pretty hard to see from the road. And because it's sort of right on his sort of drive into the place, I think
What time are you guys going? We're going today.
We're supposed to go to the pub.
Won't be. We're going
What about a few words from the chef, Harry?
There you go, Bill. I want to come out. We might watch up while we're in there. Can I walk in? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm real sorry I walked in front of you. You did. You just wanted to get on telly.
I mean this as an accomplice. This is your mother, Patrick, and your mother-in-law, Anne, your niece, your Auntie Nance, and your sister. And wouldn't you think they'd give you a good night's sleep on the second night of your honeymoon?
Is that the way to do it, Billy? I've forgotten how to do it. I've done it years ago.
Yes. Well, Helen certainly had plenty of practice.
Now, you turn that back and then you turn the bottom and you
Fold them both back, yes.
Now, here's the blanket right on. I'm putting this in.
You said you were innocent.
I just want to see you do it right.
Yeah, but don't you fold it over the blanket, so
I know, I do. Yeah, you do it too. Come on, Helen, drag it over that side. Hey, I've got it around the wrong way, have I? Doesn't matter. Pity we didn't have some confetti. Or some rose petals. How about rose petals?
Do you have any? In the car?
No, there's only a little bit on the seat of the car, but
Nice.
Now, we're going to clean it up, Helen, remember that.
That's right.
Have you got it well at the top? Because we'll have to vacuum when they're gone, so just be careful. Oh, you're not putting confetti. I'll scream if you do. The vacuum will probably break down. Right now. Tuck it in. What's it going to tuck this now? They're going to unmake it.
Yeah, this doesn't need to tuck in.
Where's the
Just throw
pillows?
it over the top. Pillows? Where are the pillows? They're gone. I started to put
We had this problem.
Hurry up. Hurry up.
Careful.
It'll be back. Mind you don't fall
No,
because
don't.
that is not what was folded. That one's got a pillowcase on it. Where's is this the other?
No.
Yeah, that's right. I can't find the other pillowcase.
We better make us a bed, Phil.
You've disturbed it.
I'm in no way an accomplice to this. I'm just purely reporting the. I'm just purely reporting what's happening.
Billy, you told us.
See, there's the pillowcase over there beside you.
It's got a pillowcase
No,
on it.
but this one hasn't. She's getting carried away, isn't she?
Now, which do they put everything in position right?
And Patrick's likely to insist that they will not have this good room.
You know, not wanting to put any suggestions into your in. Yes, but you could put a piece of a large piece of board in each pillow or something like that, or one of those.
Oh, we got it.
Smell it, Stephen, smelly salt.
A book or something. We've done it,
yeah.
we've done enough.
Only he's here.
No, what you could do is dash of perfume on each filter.
Oh, no, we couldn't. We're giving a headache.
Did we? I did. Could you help?
You could put a book in. That's right, Beck.
A paper.
No, in actual fact, I reckon you're better to leave it as it is. If you put anything in the pillows,
They'll feel it straight away.
they will.
Yeah, they get it straight
Yes,
away.
yes.
Don't just make out we're quite
So,
naughty.
Mum, you know,
Okay.
where are you taking this?
So
Just
this.
fold it up.
Kate could have that unless she sleeps on
She
the
likes the sun.
Well,
All right.
Hang on.
Kate.
For some reason we haven't enough water.